So I was having a lot of fun with it. And I believe I might have posted it online. Um, those online at the time. But things went down, life changes, and the girl I was with at the time, she and I broke up. I ended up moving back in with my parents. I just had a really hard time. I thought I might have been over that time in my life with the wrestling figures. I still was a fan of wrestling and everything. But even that, like, the interest in that kind of diminished too. But I just decided that, that my well-being was more important, so I put that off for a long time, and then I decided to pick it back up. I picked it back up, right where I left off, pretty much. MXW was back, and it kind of just went at it again, and had the same kind of, approach it the same way. I still had the main guys, the real wrestlers. I had my exclusive wrestlers. I had hardcore matches and high fly matches and all these things, all these different styles, all in one place, and just had a lot of fun with it, and kind of didn't really plan anything out, which is kind of the way I've done it from ever since I can remember. I never really planned everything out. I planned kind of broadly what was going to happen, but just kind of let things happen. In the middle of a match, if I had an idea, let's try this. And if one guy suplexed another guy off the top rope through like 2 tables, or somebody ran in, kind of let it happen and went with it from there. And it was a lot of fun, and it was creative, and it took my mind off of things. And things had kind of restarted for me, and I wasn't working. I was just kind of taking a break, and that's where MXW kind of, I kind of saved MXW there. And then things kind of happened, and I eventually lost interest and didn't have the time for it, and eventually kind of had the epiphany that I was kind of over that. I was over the, wrestling. I kind of lost interest in wrestling at that point. Really all there was anymore was WWE, and I just wasn't happy with it and everything. So I lost interest in wrestling, so I lost interest in the wrestling figures, and eventually I sold off most of my figures, and the custom ones and stuff that I had, I ended up, selling off as parts or throwing away or whatever, and was just kind of done with it at that point, which, looking back, I really wish I would have, just put them away and not, I guess, been so rash at the time. But I think we all kind of reached that point. I'll fast forward to, like 2 years ago, I think. I met my current girlfriend, and a lot of things changed, for the better. I improved a lot of things in my life. And that was around the time that, Mattel had taken over the wrestling figure license for WWE, and I'd seen them online, and I thought they were okay, but the first time I saw them in the store was, we'd gone to a mall somewhere, and there was a Toys R Us Express, which is pretty much like a Toys R Us outlet. I went there and I saw them. It's a whole, rack full of the new, Mattel WWE figures, and pretty sure they were all basic at the time though. But I'm sure pretty sure they were all basic. But I remember seeing them and being like, holy crap, like, these are awesome. Like, those are so much better than any of the, the Jack specific. I told my girlfriend, I was like, wow, these are really cool, and I think I would like to, collect some. And I decided that I was kind of past the basics. I'd gotten into the Marvel Legends and all these other action figures that were more articulated, and so when the Elites came out, I was like, those are the ones for me. They're more expensive, but I like the added articulation. And I had thought, like, maybe I'd get into posing, again, doing the wrestling figure poses and stuff. Because I'd had a short stint in that and really enjoyed it, and I was, pretty good at it. So I was like, maybe I'll try that again, get a ring and get a couple of the Elites. And started, I think, the first one I bought was Matt Hardy, Elite Series 6, I believe. Matt Hardy. Soon after that, I think I found Goldust, Elite Series 6. Same with the Matt Hardy. I hadn't seen him a lot either. So I saw Goldust. I've always loved Goldust. That is the most brilliant character in all of professional wrestling. I don't care what you say. I think I ended up getting Chris Jericho from that series soon after, and then I got to the into the Legends, because the Legends had a lot of the guys that I grew up watching. And it was just a snowball from there, and I just, kept buying them whenever I had the extra money, and, really just enjoyed, going to a store, and, they would have a new one that I liked, or a new one that I was looking for, and, buy it, and put it on the shelf, and then the idea started formulating that I want to do a Fed again. My girlfriend's really supportive, and, she's like, yeah, when we move, you should do it, and I told her about pretty much everything that I'm saying in this series of videos. So that brings us to present day, pretty much, and I was able to get all the wrestling figures that I needed, a lot of which were for customs, because it was very important if I was going to continue MXW. I had to continue the way I left it. And a lot of the wrestlers I had created guys. And it was really important to bring those created guys back to life. I had to have Jason Troy and Jeff Corona and Bulletproof Matt Brown. Those guys. Those were really important, and those were guys that are a lot easier back then, because those guys were put together pretty much from spare parts and stuff that I had. With Mattel's run with the WWE license being still so young, there were there's still very few parts to work with. The majority you have are trunks and kick pads and stuff like that. And it's even worse with Elites. I had a really hard time with Bulletproof Matt Brown. His original attire was baggy camo pants. These styles, I really wanted to replicate them exactly the way they were. However, that wasn't possible. And especially not wanting to do a whole lot with paint and stuff like that. And I'm not really comfortable with, splitting torsos and stuff like that with the Mattel figures, especially with the Elites.